let me ask you about Brexit. And we were talking to Liam Fox earlier this morning on the implications of Brexit and the negotiations of UK out as it moves out of the EU. The view is that it would be in the best interest of both the UK as well as the EU to have closer ties. They would obviously want to continue to have single market access, but perhaps they would also want to impose tighter immigration control and immigration caps. How will the EU deal with that?
Well, actually, negotiations have not started yet, as everybody knows, and I don't
preempting them.
Yeah, I don't have that much to say about the negotiations. But obviously, it's in everybody's interest to have a constructive and pragmatic agreement with the UK, between UK and the European Union 27. So UK's location will remain as it is. UK is a significant market, and that's why it's in EU's interest to have a good relationship, but it will not be easy. And it's also self-clear that being a member means that you have better position and benefits, more benefits than those who are not part of the club. So we have put and will put all the negative attitudes aside and try to find a compromise which is reasonable and pragmatic. But
where do you believe the compromise will be possible?
Well, immediately after the UK government is willing to start negotiating, then we have 2 years' time, which is actually very, very short because it includes also the ratification process. So I think it will take some time to find a solution. It's technically very challenging and politically also.
Challenging, complex, likely to be messy as well, but what do you believe will be the most contentious issues as you try and negotiate the new arrangement with the UK?
Well, there are a whole range of issues which are very, very important and complicated. So I wouldn't like to raise any particular topic about the others. Of course, there are 2 negotiations. The first one is how UK gets rid of the EU, and another one is what is the follow-up arrangement. And those are 2 different negotiations which have a close link with each other, of course. But yeah, I cannot say in this stage what are the most difficult ones because there are lots of them.
In terms of the big picture and in terms of the outlook that you see as far as the Eurozone is concerned from a growth perspective, it's very clear that, we're in a contractionary bias and it doesn't seem like there is a way out of that, at least as of today. Give us a sense of what we should expect realistically in terms of growth.
We just got the autumn forecast yesterday, and if I remember the figures right, this year growth is something like 1.6, next year around the same. So in medium term, we can expect something like 1.5 to close to 2% growth, which in new normal can be seen as a good growth, even though it should be better. But in Western world, new normal is different than old normal. Of course, we should get better. And that's why the structural reforms in national level, also structural reforms in EU level, meaning better single market and trade agreements are so important because those are the elements which can boost growth in medium and long term.
But in terms of coordinated action, and we've seen central bankers sort of move in a coordinated fashion, especially when it comes to quantitative easing and providing stimulus, do you believe that the ECB and the Bank of England will need to sort of align even in a post-Brexit era?
I'm sure that ECB and Bank of England will have very close cooperation also after the Brexit, because it's a matter of financial stability and it's a matter of growth. ECB has done as much as it can. We cannot expect more from ECB side because they have already done a lot. And I fully agree with Mario Draghi, the governor of the ECB, when he's saying that once the central bank monetary policy is giving shield to member states from financial instability, the member states' term is to reform the countries in order to improve competitiveness.
But Mario Draghi also continues to maintain that there is still enough ammunition with the ECB should it choose to act at an appropriate time. Do you believe that there will be that need?
Well, we have a policy not to comment on ECBs or speculate ECB's decision making, but if the governor has said so, then we must believe it. But the central bank is not the body which can solve all those structural problems we have in our economies, and that's why, for instance, the Commission is pushing member states to do reforms, and luckily, as I said, luckily many member states have already done, but there are still many reforms to be done.
Mm-hmm. You look at competitiveness as well, along with investment, and unless you get these structural reforms done, can you really improve competitiveness as far as the EU is concerned?
Sure, of course. I mean, labor market reforms in many countries are very crucial. Also, public sector reforms when talking about healthcare systems. Also, the quality of education is very crucial. There are lots of low-hanging fruits which could be picked up by reforming education systems. Also, taxation to reduce income taxation and put more pressure on indirect taxation. These kind of reforms are needed in many countries. So these all will gradually improve competitiveness. And then on top of this, there are EU-wide European level reforms which will increase competition and by doing so increase productivity.
How concerned would you be, with the elections that will start next year in countries like France, that the very idea and the future of the Eurozone is going to be in question, given what we've seen happen with Brexit, and especially in the context of President Trump in the White House?
Well, I have, like many others, I guess, have learned to be very cautious with popular votes nowadays. Because, like somebody...
No more referendums.
I have never been a great fan of referendums because, those who have selected or elected to make decisions should take their responsibility. It's difficult to preempt anything what is going to happen in the big countries' elections. But of course, it may have some impact to decision making, especially in the countries concerned. But it's also very important to acknowledge that if you look at the Brexit vote, the whole world was looking at UK and what will happen next, and people got an impression that EU is in crisis because of Brexit. Brexit hasn't been discussed at all, at least for many months now in the college, in the Commission, because it's not on our agenda. Of course, we start talking about once negotiation starts, but EU is moving forward. We are discussing what we are discussing in the college meeting every week. There are migration issues, single market issues, trade issues, capital market union related issues, defense related issues, etc. So EU is moving like a train. And we are not hostage of American elections or UK referendum. Of course, elections always create some sort of uncertainty around, especially nowadays when populism is rising and the normal logic of elections or politics does not function similarly as it did a couple of years ago.
So you're saying that Brexit is not the number one concern that the EU is dealing with at this point in time. You've got other challenges and other things to worry about. Thank you very much for answering our questions, and thank you very much for giving us a sense of what we should expect. And of course, a lot of this is uncertain, and a lot of it continues to be in the realm of speculation, but thank you very much for speculating here with us. Appreciate your time. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.